The Mavericks win 107-105. Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Jeffrey Cooperstein here with y'all. And boy, was this a game that had a lot of storylines. Aaron Nesmith misses a wide open three at the buzzer to give the Mavericks their second win of the season. They end the homestand 2-3 before they head down to Mexico City to take on the Detroit Pistons on Friday night. The biggest storyline of this game tonight, though, shocker, Anthony Davis is hurt. Came into the game on the injury report, was listed as probable with bilateral Achilles tendinopathy. What does that mean? That means that he had Achilles inflammation and soreness in both his left and his right Achilles. AD tonight landed awkwardly, grabbed his area near his Achilles, did not return to the game. This is the same Anthony Davis who has missed over half of the season multiple times in his career, who has dealt with multiple injuries in his career, who has not stayed healthy at all. He was limited to just 9 games last season with the Mavericks after the Luka Doncic trade. Got hurt in his first game with the Mavericks, and now he's hurt again. And I wish I couldn't say I told you so, but I told you so. AD is always injured. There is no, I'm going to cut right now, Jackie. It's all good. AD is always injured. He is always unavailable to play. And this is another reason why this basketball team made the worst trade in NBA history. Because you traded for a guy who doesn't play. Not that ever trading Luka would make any sense whatsoever. But trading him for someone who doesn't stay on the court is just, it's malpractice beyond malpractice. Like, you can't even describe the level of malpractice that it is. AD tonight, 4 points and 4 rebounds because he didn't play. He got hurt. The Mavericks are calling it lower left leg soreness. We don't know the exact nature of the injury. This and that. We don't know any of the deets on Anthony Davis. But what I do know is that he's injured again. And if Anthony Davis is injured, this Mavericks team has zero chance. Zero chance. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how many different things this team has to go through. It's genuinely insane. I promise we are going to talk about the positives of today's game because there were some positives in today's game, and we'll start getting positive right now. Spam the W's in the chat as the Mavericks did win this game 107-105, even if it was an extremely hard-fought, difficult game that came down to the wire against the worst team in the NBA. The Mavericks did win this game, and they got some very valiant efforts from some unlikely heroes in this ballgame. So spam those W's down there in the chat. The number one hero of this game tonight, my man Dwight Powell. What a performance. I mean, all things considered, this is like one of Dwight Powell's best performances of his career. Not even kidding. 18 points and 6 boards for Dwight. 4 of 6 from the field. 2 blocks as well. Like, when AD got hurt, Powell had to come in cold after not really expecting to be in the rotation tonight. And he was absolutely fantastic. Like, you could not have asked for a better performance from Dwight Powell than what you got. You simply can't. And all the credit to him. Congratulations to him as well. The longest tenured Maverick. He's been here since December of 2014. Came over from the Celtics in the Rajon Rondo trade. And I couldn't be happier for how Dwight Powell performed in this one, man. So 100% credit to DP. And congratulations to him because he played his absolute ass off, man. And he deserves all of the kudos in the world. So shout out Dwight Powell. And also shout out to this man, Brandon Williams. I've always liked Brandon Williams' game, man. I really have. And he showed you tonight exactly what the Mavericks need. 20 points, 2 assists to 2 turnovers, 7 rebounds, 9 of 14 from the field. But what Brandon Williams does And forgive me, someone who is in our live chat, by the way, we went live for the Mavericks game, so if you're watching this on demand, join us for our live shows, which you do about once a week, going live for Mavericks games and doing a watch party. But somebody in the chat said Williams, a.k.a. Kyrie Irving. And obviously Williams is not nearly as talented as Kai is, but what Brandon Williams does a lot of similar things to Kyrie. He obviously doesn't have the handles and the IQ of Kai. But Williams really pushes the pace on the offensive end. He gets this team going with bursts of energy, and he is able to do things that this team didn't have on offer with him out of the lineup. Missed, obviously, a couple of games with personal reasons, and we all know kind of the story behind that, but he came back tonight. He got his opportunity, and boy, did he seize it. I mean, like I said, and you see it on screen right now, 20 points, 7 boards, 9 of 14. He was the closing point guard over D'Lo in this game, who, by the way, did not play that bad either. D'Angelo Russell had 14 points and 5 assists as well. Again, the turnover number, too much. But look, the Mavericks got what they needed to get from their guards tonight, in my opinion. Got a good performance from Brandon Williams. Got a good performance from D'Angelo Russell. And that is absolutely a positive sign for this basketball team going forward. Because in order to win in this league, you need point guard play. Plain and simple. You are not going to win without playing point guards. And I just pray that sooner rather than later, the Mavericks begin to start point guards and put them in the starting lineup as opposed to starting this ultra big lineup that just simply does not work because Cooper Flagg is not APG. We'll talk about Cooper Flagg here in just a moment, as I thought he had a really solid second half of the game. But before we do that, today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks, and football season is in full swing. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. The football season in full swing. My team's not been doing great, the Cowboys and the Longhorns, but you can win some money on Prize Picks, which is super simple to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stat projections, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in. You can play in more than 40 states, including California, Georgia, and, of course, Texas. They put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. They now offer Venmo, Cash App, and Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this season. Here was my projection, and since Anthony Davis was injured, that turned into a 2-player projection. So I took the less on Cooper Flagg points at 15.5. What did Flagg finish with? 15. I took the more on Pascal Siakam personal fouls at 2.5. What did he have? 4. If you would have copied my picks, you would have made money tonight on Prize Picks. And of course, if you want to make picks of your own, just please do it with our friends over at Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. One more time, that is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Shout out to Prize Picks. It is good to be right. That link will be in the comments and description of today's show. Appreciate Prize Picks for sponsoring this episode of Mavericks Today. Cooper Flagg, really good second half from the Rook tonight. Thought he looked really comfortable offensively. Thought he made an impact defensively as well. The first double-double of his career, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he had one earlier, so don't take my word for gospel on that. But finished with 15 and 10, including 4 assists as well. 6 of 11 from the field. Did not attempt a three-pointer in tonight's ballgame, but really liked how Coop asserted himself in the second half. Thought he was aggressive. Thought he was doing what he does well. He was going to the rim. He was using his body. He was using his physicality, using his basketball IQ, and thought he did some really good things on the offensive end and the defensive end as well. So shout out to Cooper Flagg. Thought he had a really solid game tonight, and long may it continue because the Mavericks are going to need Cooper Flagg to really figure it out on the offensive end, especially if Anthony Davis is not going to be available to this squad. Caleb Martin had a fine game, whatever. Might be his career high with the Mavericks. 2 of 3 from the field, and it should be 2 of 2 from 3. I don't know why that says 1 of 2 because he did knock down 2 3-pointers in a row. But look, this team is just trying to find their groove, and through 5 home games, they're 2 and 3. I would say it's a pretty damn disappointing homestand. Like, if you would have beaten the Wizards, which you obviously should have, 3-2 looks a hell of a lot better than 2-3, but at the end of the day, you're just trying to find your footing here, and I pray this is the first step in doing so, even though they almost tried to choke the game away. Max Christie, 10 points on the night to go along with 4 assists. Only 1 of 4 from 3 tonight for Max, who's been shooting the ball really well in the first 5 games of the season, except did not get it going tonight. But overall, Max, a super important player for the squad. Think he's going to play a lot of minutes for this team going forward. And if AD is hurt, Max is going to have an even bigger role on this team. And I know he plays a different position, but AD is hurt. Those minutes come off the board, and this team has to find a way to make up for it. No doubt about it. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already at youtube.com/MavsTV. We're covering the Mavs all throughout the 25-26 NBA season right here on the channel. Going live once a week, 4 games. Latest news, rumors, analysis, and more. 100% free at youtube.com/MavsTV. If you're already subscribed, I appreciate the support you are bringing myself and Chat Sports here, as we absolutely love you guys, man, so thank you. A guy we do have to talk about. His brother is cooked. COOKED, cooked. Klay Thompson cannot play anymore, man. He's like 7 of 27 on the season shooting. And he did the same thing last year where he just could not hit the broadside of a barn to start the season. But Klay is having an absolute nightmare of a beginning of this year. And you really can't bench him, because if you do, I think Klay completely checks out and just won't be an asset whatsoever to this team. But how long do you ride with him? How long are you willing to live with this? Because he's a completely negative asset at this point in time for the Mavericks right now, man. Completely negative asset. Hopefully Klay can get it done. And I think he will. He's the second greatest shooter of all time. Hopefully he can get it turned around. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's a big one on Friday. The Mavericks head down to Mexico City, CDMX, to take on the Detroit Pistons. That is a 9 p.m. Central Time tip-off. We will not be live for that game, but we will have you up to date if anything happens during that game. So, of course, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up icon if you haven't already, and we'll see you soon here on the channel.